Hello, my name is Annalise Gaffney, and this is my Equinox Spring 2025 Pilates Teacher Training Demonstration exam, my final. Yay! It's December 15th, it's a Monday. It's currently 5:15 p.m. Eastern. I am in the beautiful Orchard Street studio in New York City with great windows, and thank you for watching. Here we go. I'm going to start with the reformer. into my mat portion of class. Let's do that. Okay. Wanda chair. There we go. Okay. sit you right here. Actually, I'll put you right here. Some reasonings behind my curated workout today. Something that I've been working on since the beginning of the program has been upper body strength. Us women carry a lot of load on the front. I feel like I've kind of always been a little bit hunched in my posture, and there was a few times in beginner that I felt it, but I feel like everything was so new in beginner, and then in intermediate I actually injured myself a bit because we started doing these rolling exercises with intense spinal articulation with no support throughout the rest of the body. And then once we got to the overhead, short spine massage, that was really when I realized that there was something that needed to change in my body. So since intermediate, I've been really working on my upper body strength to help match my lower body strength with those spinal articulation exercises when I'm not being held by, an apparatus or another part of my body. And through advanced, obviously there's a lot more overhead, legs up above your own head, and kind of like spinal articulation without much support. So I chose to stick with the intermediate order just for sake of, time and also respecting my body. The advanced reformer order is really intense, and I've been doing it a lot just to help my friends practice for our test outs and stuff. But the exercises I chose today, let's talk about it. So the reformer, I stuck with the intermediate. We did short spine massage, and then I added in rowing. Rowing, obviously so much good upper body and shoulder girdle activation and strengthening. So I feel like that was really something I wanted to focus on. So, rowing for front, into the sternum, pushing the arms back, lifting the arms behind me. That's something that I've really been working on too, like while squeezing in your shoulder blades and lifting up. Definitely a hard one to do, so that was why I wanted to do into the sternum, 90 degrees. Also, again, just like upper shoulder activation. And then, of course, rowing for back, you got from the chest, lower down. Keeping the shoulder blades down while you're lifting the arms up has been also a challenge, so I really wanted to incorporate that. I added a few extra reps for shaving. I'm not sure if you noticed, but I think shaving is one of my favorite exercises just because I feel like it hits those triceps in a way that you don't always get hit, so that's a great one too. I chose to do the advanced teaser just because I wanted some core activation, some really nice movement coming from the powerhouse, so really doing those arm circles, continuous arm workout with moving from your powerhouse was a really good one for me to stick in there. I chose hamstring curls just because that's always been an exercise that's definitely challenging, but I always feel like I really strengthen my glutes and my hamstrings when I do it, so I never like to skip hamstring curls, although I did skip horseback because that's a difficult one. But I slipped hamstring curls in there just because it's a good one, really activating the back body. The other thought with hamstring curls too is with these overhead exercises, which again was kind of the theme of the session today, you really need a lot of back body strength and activation to lift your legs up in the air as your upper body's staying down. So having, strong hamstrings and strong glutes is very important too, so I wanted to do hamstring curls. Moving on, continuing the order, I put tendon stretch in there after stomach massage. I wasn't planning on doing it, to be honest, but as I was doing the movement, it just feels so good to, really move from your powerhouse. I feel like when you're in stomach massage, you're kind of in this like not hunched, but you're, it's all lower body and legs and some core. But tendon stretch feels like such a core exercise. Like you're really lifting up your whole lower body from your powerhouse. And to complement that after stomach massage with the continuous connection to moving through your powerhouse felt like a really positive thing. I also knew I was doing tendon stretch on the Wonder Chair for my Sweeten the Deal, so I felt like adding that movement to complement one another might have made the tendon stretch a bit easier. I'm rambling on the reformer. Let's see what's next. I think that was it. Yeah. Then for my mat exercises, I started with single leg circles, which is a beginner exercise, but I've always felt that exercise challenged my abdominals in a way that no other beginner exercise has, so I thought I would pay homage to that. Also, it helps with the leg movement overhead, so your upper body is, stable, your pelvis is supposed to be stable, so focusing on pelvic stability, but also introducing that one leg up as the rest of the body stays down. So that felt really good to do. So starting out with that was special, if you will. Then I chose corkscrew after that. Corkscrew was another one, another advanced reformer exercise where when your arms are like this and you put your legs up in the air to do corkscrew on the reformer, I really struggle with that. Again, it's just this like lower legs up and, shoulder girdle pressing down. So I felt like both corkscrew, starting with single leg circles and corkscrew, were a really nice complement to one another of shoulder girdle activation and strengthening, and also pelvic stability, moving from the powerhouse to initiate the movement from the legs. Corkscrew just felt like a nice way to, you start working on that movement of the tick-tocking of the legs back and forth, but having your legs move as one. So that was really great. Then I went into shoulder bridge. From there, shoulder bridge, again, shoulder girdle activation, pressing down through the top body and the arms to lift the lower body up. It's also a lot of glute and hamstring strength there to keep your hips in that bridge position, and it's also a lot of hip mobility too, hip strength, so to really keep your hips up with one leg at a time. So really lower body activation with supporting your body being in that lifted position. After shoulder girdle, I did jackknife, so starting to warm up that movement of lifting the legs overhead on the reformer, but starting on the mat with the jackknife. I was going back and forth between the rollover and the jackknife, but I felt that the jackknife was a bit more palatable just because it's the both legs at the time. You can squeeze the core, you can squeeze the midline to really send your legs up ahead. So I wanted to do that one. And I also feel like keeping the legs overhead and parallel and then putting them up towards that upper diagonal is, it complements the overhead move on the reformer really well, which comes before long spine massage. So in the order of the reformer, it felt like a more appropriate thing to add in the mat order. I ended up with swimming because always got to have some spinal extension in the class. It honestly just felt really good to open up my chest, but also back body. So really wanting to have, the erector spinae, all those spinal back muscles back here, and then the back muscles of the legs to really activate and work with one another during that exercise. Felt like a nice way to end the mat segment. Moving on to sweeten the deals, I chose pull up on the one-to chair. Beginner exercise, but again, one of those exercises I've always really kept near and dear to my heart. Again, back body, lifting legs up while the arms are down. It's really great for shoulder strengthening, shoulder girdle stability, and also kind of, activating through the core to lift your legs up. So that was a really good way things that I've been working on to be able to lift my legs overhead. And moving from the powerhouse. After the pull-up, I did tendon stretch, complementing the tendon stretch I did in the reformer. That, again, hugging the midline, moving from the powerhouse, shoulder girdle stability, but also really challenging myself to move from the core instead of like jumping off. If you could tell at the end, I was having a bit of a challenging time with it. I wanted to add an exercise that I know I still struggled with, so I didn't want this session to be like a breeze. Tendon stretch on the one-to chair is something I've been working on for quite some time, and I think has gotten better since the first time I've done it, but it's still definitely a challenge. But really, again, shoulder girdle strength, back body activation, and moving from the powerhouse and lifting the legs while the upper body is staying still, if you will. Then we went to reverse swan teaser on the one-to chair. Also a move that I definitely struggle with, but that to me feels like the epitome of moving from your powerhouse in the Joseph Pilates, classical Pilates segment. Really being so not supported on both ends of the equipment, having to do spinal articulation with your legs above you, again, working on that lower body strength and stability while also, shoulder girdle still activated and pressing back, and you're in this extension, but how you're going to move, only your powerhouse. So being able to really like depress the core, move down and back with just the movement of the core and the powerhouse, to me is like the ultimate cherry on top of an amazing Pilates Sunday. So really big fan of that one. Then we ended fully with the pedal. I love the pedal. I think every Pilates session should end with the pedal. It's got resistance, it's challenging, you still feel like you're getting a workout in, and it just makes you sit up so much taller for the rest of the day. So I chose arm circles just to open up the arms and the shoulder girdle, really get a nice stretch out, but also strengthening the triceps and biceps, and being able to really test that spinal straightness and, you know, one long line. And then I chose the tricep press just to really, again, focus on lengthening and lifting throughout the crown of the head. And again, with all these upper shoulder girdle, upper body focus of the class today, I really wanted to articulate and build on that upper strength to be able to press my body back down onto the reformer while lifting my legs up above me for when I went to go do these overhead moves on the reformer, which I find difficult, and a lot of people do. So I hope you enjoyed. I have so enjoyed this program. I cannot believe this is my last shebang, but thank you for watching, and I look forward to hearing your feedback.